Good evening, fellow campaigners, friends, comrades. It's a pleasure and an honour to be here at Shropshire People's Assembly Against Austerity with so many of you who've actually waited around and are still here. So many of you who, like me, have focused attention and time on developing and explaining the alternative to the economic disaster we have suffered, and the one under which we continue to suffer thanks to the condemned's blind adherence to the policies that landed us here in the first place. I am the Deputy Leader of the Green Party of England and Wales, and there are many people here who may wonder why I, representing as I do, the party viewed by many as muesli-knitting tree huggers, why I should actually be here at all. And the answer's simple. Austerity is not an economic imperative. No matter how much our Chancellor and his colleagues repeat that particular lie, it is a political decision. And like any political decision, there are alternatives. As most of us are aware, the financial crisis of 2008 was a gift to the Tory party. It enabled them to scare people into voting them back into power, almost. And since then, it's given them an excuse, and that's all it is, an excuse to shrink the state and cut the social security system to the bone. And they've actually only just started. As we all know, of course, it is not working. We see a so-called recovery that is in fact basically rich homeowners in the southeast being able to spend a bit more money on things they don't need, while food banks throughout the country are the only industry that is really booming. We don't need an economic recovery. We need an economy working for the common good. And of course, they said they wanted us to realise we're all in it together. But at every budget, every single budget, they've announced cuts to services, social security payments, wages, assistance for children, working people and the infirm, and announced they're using that money taken from society's most vulnerable and hardest working, and spending it on tax cuts. Let's stop taxing second bedrooms and start taxing second homes. In a country where the 5 richest families own more than the poorest fifth of the whole population, some people can actually afford to pay a little bit more tax. In this endeavour, of course, they're actually aided and abetted by the Lib Dems and the vast majority of the national media. Even Labour Party's announcements have actually sounded like promises to wear slightly softer shoes when they kick poor and migrants. Present company accepted. And we need to arrest this crisis, and we in the Green Party know how. We need to take the railways and utilities back into public hands. We have... and we have to make sure that we tax people and big businesses properly. That is, ensure that people pay the correct amount of tax, the legal level and the level they're expected to pay. Tax evasion and tax avoidance costs us, according to Economist report, £120 billion per year. Let's make sure we set taxes that are not there to be avoided, and that when people evade them illegally, we catch them and we punish them, and we spend money doing that instead of chasing the people who haven't got the money to pay in the first place. We need to cut the replacement for Trident, a weapons system we really don't need and which will cost us more than £100 billion over its lifetime. We introduce a land value tax to stop land speculators making money and doing nothing with it, and a Robin Hood tax to take some money from the bankers at least. Using that money, we can build and repair houses, ensuring thousands of people on council waiting lists can have a place to live that's fit for human habitation. It will enable us to create energy efficient, well-insulated homes fit for 21st century development and a developed state. And again, it will offer people employment, decent unemployment at a decent rate, cutting our welfare costs, of course. We must ensure that we pay a decent living wage to these workers. Working tax credits and income support are not bad policies because they're a burden on us as taxpayers. They're bad policies because they are a clear acceptance of the fact that private big businesses are refusing to pay their employers enough to live on. They're an unacceptable form of corporate welfare. The taxpayer should not be making up the wage bill of Tesco and Starbucks. To get out of this crisis and to build a prosperous, sustainable life for all will take investment. We must invest in jobs, in useful industries, and in people. But if our politicians don't believe that people and the planet are worth investing in, then we need to change our politicians. There is an alternative to the austerity that we're suffering now, and we need to shout it from the platform, we need to shout it from the pulpits, and we need to shout it from the barricades. We need to unite and fight for the common good.